So in today's video, son, we're going to talk about some of the coolest little trailers you've ever seen.
Snowco, baby.
So in today's modern world, a lot of your tractor buyers are going to go to the dealer, purchase their machine, and they're going to expect delivery to either be automatic or going to set up a delivery with the dealership. But way back, and I mean way, way back in the day, back in your father or your grandfather's days, they had a different approach. A lot of the dealers were reaching out to a company called Snow Manufacturing who produced the Snowco trailers out of Omaha, Nebraska. And that's what today's video is going to be all about. So several of the top garden tractor manufacturers subcontracted trailers to Snowco to accompany your new machine and help bring it home. Because that was the idea. You purchased the machine, whether it be a wheel horse, a Case, a John Deere, a Sears, an Alice Chalmers. You purchased one of these tractors at the dealer and they had a matching Snowco trailer that you could purchase to not only bring you home your machine, but also parade it around town and show it off to envious onlookers. So Snowco offered a wide variety of different small trailers, and these weren't just for garden tractors. They made trailers to also transport boats, snowmobiles, golf carts, the garden tractors. They made a lot of different trailers over the course of about, I'm going to say probably a 25-year period, maybe starting off in about the early 1960s, going all the way up into the 1980s is when you really saw these Snowco trailers being made. They also made a number of other items that were mainly related to farming, such as grain augers, bale loaders, and bale elevators.
And sticking with the garden tractor trailers in specifics, there were several identifiable features that really made them stand out from the crowd. Not every Snowco trailer had these features, but the vast majority of them did. The first feature that they had was an 8-inch tall, round, front splash shield piece. And this piece not only gave it a sharp look, but it also blocked road waters from the tow vehicle as well as windborne debris. So, like say you're driving down the road, you hit a little mud puddle, you don't want it splashing over your brand new tractor. So this would protect it from that.
And it's worth noting, this was completely removable, this front round piece. So if you had a longer load, maybe a tractor with an implement, you could take it off and get a little extra length on your bed of your trailer.
The next thing they had would have been the non-skid deck traction strips. So these would have ran the length of the bed of the trailer, and these strips had round holes throughout which provided an excellent non-skid surface for traction and to keep the machine and operator safe from slips, and also they provided great drainage from water. And I think on top of that, they would have been good, when you had a tractor parked up on there, it would have been nice to have something that it's not going to be sliding around on.
So this, like you said, these traction slips helped with not only the wheels of the machine, but also the feet of the operator loading the machine. So it gave you a nice solid surface to load and walk around your machine and secure it with your straps or your chains or whatever you're using. And another thing that's worth noting, I think, about these traction strips, I don't know if this is true, this is just a rumor, so take it for what it's worth, but the rumor is these decks are actually built from surplus Army mud tracks. So during World War II, they ordered a bunch of these mud strip tracks. So during World War II, they would have had a bunch of these strips made up to help traverse muddy fields, even use them as bridges to cross little brooks. And they had a whole bunch left over. And it does make sense because the timing works. These trailers, like I said, started getting made in about the early 1960s. So it was well enough after the war had ended, but soon enough after the war had ended that they would still have all this excess supplies. And they would have contracted out to use up some of those supplies making these Snowco trailers. Let us know if you've ever heard that rumor, whether you think it's true or maybe you have some inside information from some of the old timers from back in the day. So what were some of the other distinguishable features of the Snowco trailer?
You would have had the curved tongue, which I think would have been pretty distinctive. So this allowed for a lower bed height, which would have been good because it would have lowered the center of gravity on the trailer.
Easier to load.
Yes, and it also would have been
allowed you to have it towed from vehicles with higher ditches. So if you're towing it with something small like a car or a small truck, it wouldn't matter. But if you have a big truck, you don't want your trailer angling down. So that curved tongue really can help out a lot, giving you different options for towing.
So one thing though is it is worth noting that a lot of Snowco trailers did just have the straight hitches, that a lot of them weren't featured with a curved tongue. However, some of them weren't. I still think it's important to note.
So the next feature I would say was probably one of the more well-known ones about the Snowco trailers is a lot of them had tilting beds. Not all of them, but a lot of them had tilting beds. So you didn't need ramps, and loading the tractor was a real breeze. You could just tilt the bed at a very low angle, have it touch the ground, drive on your machine. And as you drove towards the front of the trailer, it would automatically tilt back to level, and you could secure your load and be on your way, get your chores done.
It almost sounds like a flatbed truck that'd tilt back, except instead of being hydraulic, it'd probably just be gravity, I'd assume.
So, yeah. But again, not all the trailers had this tilting bed feature. Some of them didn't. And some of them even had built-in ramps and tailgates on their trailers for the Snowco.
Pretty cool too.
So some of the other features would have been more minor. Most of them had round fenders. They had automotive type semi-elliptical springs. And most of the Snowco trailers featured 2x3 rectangle box frame tubing for the frame of the trailer.
I actually have a question for you.
What's that?
Did they ever use Snowco trailers for any case or Ingersoll models?
Yes. We're going to get into what brands offered Snowco trailers in a bit. But before we do that, let's talk about the sizes of the Snowco trailers. They had a number of different series. They had the 48 series, the 54 series, the 66 series. And those represented how wide the deck of the trailer would have been. And most of the Snowco trailers range from about 8 to 10 feet long, but they did have models all the way up to about 14 feet in length with dual axles and 4,200 pound capacities.
Yeah, so that makes sense, because if you're loading, say, the SS14, and then if you have something like the Power Max, obviously you're going to need two very obviously different sized trailers.
Yeah, if you had the Power Max with a heavy implement on it, you really want that bigger tandem axle trailer.
But if you have something like just the SS14 and a mower deck, you don't really want that because it's going to be bigger and therefore harder to use, harder to transport.
Yeah, I would say the most popular were probably the 48 or the 54 series, but the 66 dual axle trailers really were pretty cool. But let's talk about what brands actually used Snowco. Now, I don't believe all these brands had the trailers painted to their custom colors. Some of them did, but some didn't. So your standard Snowco trailer would have came with a two-tone color scheme, and that would have been pearl gray and seafoam green. But you could get it with custom colors to match your new garden tractor. So what brands offered Snowco trailers?
Quite a few, actually. So you had Sears, Alice Chalmers, Simplicity, Case, John Deere, and Wheelhorse were the main ones.
That's quite a few.
Yeah.
So most of your top contender brands offered a Snowco trailer to accompany your new tractor from them, which I think is pretty cool.
And a lot of them were actually painted in the brand specific colors. Like I know for a fact that I've seen John Deere ones painted green and yellow, or I've seen Wheelhorse ones painted red and white.
Yeah, I believe Wheelhorse also offered snowmobiles that they sold in the 70s with Snowco snowmobile trailers. Well, I would say probably the most well-known of the Snowco trailers has got to be the Alice Chalmers Toby. What a sharp-looking little unit that was. It was painted yellow, I believe yellow and black or yellow and white to match the Alice Chalmers tractors, and it had their little B logo, so it really stood out from the crowd.
Well, and plus, then that fit with the Alice Chalmers tractors being yellow and black or yellow and white, having the little B on them, all that.
I mean, if you were a kid in the 1960s, can you imagine someone coming down the road with not only a brand new Alice Chalmers garden tractor with a little B logo, but also a matching trailer with a B logo? I mean, that had to have been a sight to behold.
It must have.
Well, let us know if you're old enough to remember such a thing. So we certainly hope you guys enjoyed today's video. We know it wasn't quite a tractor talk per se, because it's not a tractor, but it is very specific to garden tractors. And we think they're really cool little trailers, and they definitely deserved a video and a mention. Let us know if you've ever seen a Snowco trailer, if you've heard of them, if you have one, if you'd like to get one. All the above. Let us know down in the comments.
See you guys in the next one.